Hey there, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something really relevant, I think, especially if you're enjoying your wiser years.
Hmm.
We're talking about natural ways to give your immune system a bit of extra, well,
Yeah, it's a great topic.
and it's easy to think that maybe feeling a bit more vulnerable, getting sick more often, is just, well, part of getting older.
Right, that's a really common thought.
But guess what? That's really not the full picture.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
While our bodies do change, sure, you actually have a lot more say in how strong and, resilient your immune system stays than you might think.
Okay.
It's not really about just accepting getting sick more often. It's more about understanding these simple ways you can support your body's natural defenses.
Exactly. And we're talking about like everyday stuff, things you eat, little habits, maybe even a few smart supplement choices.
Mm,
Nothing super complicated, no big overhauls needed.
precisely. Keep it simple, keep it practical.
And this isn't just guesswork, is it? There's actual science backing this up. I remember hearing about, I think it was a Johns Hopkins study. It showed older adults who made just a few lifestyle tweaks had like surprisingly youthful immune responses.
That's right. It's really encouraging stuff. It just shows how adaptable our bodies really are.
Yeah.
When we give them the right ingredients, the right kind of care, they can keep protecting us pretty effectively.
Okay, fantastic. So where do we even start? If someone wants to boost their natural immunity, what's like the first thing to think about?
Let's talk about your gut. I know it might sound a bit surprising.
The gut.
Yeah, but a huge chunk, we're talking nearly 70% of your entire immune system is actually located right there in your digestive system.
Wow, 70%. Seriously, that's massive.
It really is.
So what's the actual connection then between our gut and, fighting off colds or the flu?
Well, it's all about the huge community of bacteria living in there, your gut microbiome.
Yeah.
Having a good, balanced mix of different types of these bacteria is just so crucial for strong immunity.
How so?
It helps keep inflammation down, not just in the gut, but all over your body. And it acts like a natural shield against infections. If that balance gets thrown off, well, your immune system can have a much tougher time doing its job effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we make sure we've got a happy, balanced gut? Does this mean like drastic diet changes?
Not at all, not
Mm.
necessarily. Think about adding just small amounts of fermented foods into your daily routine.
Fermented foods. Like what?
Yeah, things like just a few bites of sauerkraut, maybe a spoonful of plain unsweetened yogurt, a small glass of kefir is great, or even a daily bowl of miso soup. These are packed with natural probiotics.
Okay, those all sound pretty doable. I actually like sauerkraut. Yogurt and kefir are easy too. Is there like solid proof this actually helps older adults specifically?
There is, yeah. There was a study, I think in Selenium back in 2021, that found older adults who ate fermented foods regularly actually had lower markers of inflammation.
Interesting.
It's really about feeding your gut those good guys it needs to thrive, which in turn supports your immune system.
That's good to know. Okay, but what if someone really isn't a fan of those fermented tastes? Sauerkraut isn't for everyone. Are there other options?
Oh, definitely. Probiotic supplements can be a really helpful alternative in that case.
Right.
If you go that route, maybe look for supplements specifically formulated for, the over 60 crowd.
Hmm.
And keep an eye out for particular strains like Bifidobacterium longum and Lactobacillus plantarum.
Okay, bifido something.
Bifidobacterium longum and Lactobacillus plantarum. Yeah, those specific ones have shown some real promise in supporting both digestion and immune health in seniors.
Good tip. So check the label for those specific strains. Okay, gut health check. What's another natural way we can bolster immunity?
All right, next up, let's look at the colors on your plate. Think of it as like the superfood rule or the power of the rainbow for your health.
Eat the rainbow, I've heard that.
Exactly. Those vibrant colors you see in fruits and vegetables, the reds, the oranges, the greens, the blues, they're not just pretty. They're signals that those foods are packed with amazing compounds.
Compounds like,
Antioxidants, polyphenols, basically things that are fantastic for your immune system.
so it's not just about eating some veggies, but getting lots of different colors.
Precisely. These colorful compounds act like a cleanup crew inside your body. They help clear out damaged cells, and importantly, they calm down inflammation.
Inflammation again, it seems key.
It really is. And these compounds also help your white blood cells, the soldiers of your immune system, work at their best. So yeah, aiming to eat the rainbow every single day is a simple, but honestly really powerful way to support your health.
Okay, paint me a picture. Give me some examples. What colors, what foods?
Sure. Think red, Tomatoes, red bell peppers, they're rich in lycopene, great for inflammation.
Got it. Not
Orange, carrots, sweet potatoes packed with beta-carotene, which helps those immune cells function properly.
okay.
Orange, green.
Spinach, kale, broccoli loaded with vitamin C, chlorophyll, other good stuff.
The classics.
Blue and purple. Blueberries are fantastic. Purple cabbage, too. They got anthocyanins, which fight oxidative stress like cellular damage.
Blueberries, love them.
And don't forget white. Garlic and onions have natural antimicrobial properties. They help your immune system stand strong, too.
Wow. Okay, so a really vibrant salad or a stir fry with lots of different colored veggies, that's a great strategy then.
Absolutely. And, the impact can be pretty significant. I recall seeing a study from Tufts University, I think. It showed older adults who ate more of these brightly colored vegetables had something like a 41% lower risk of getting sick during cold and flu season.
41% lower risk. Wow, that's actually a really compelling reason to pile on the colorful veggies.
Isn't it just? A great incentive, definitely. Okay, so we've got gut health. We've got colorful foods. What's another, maybe less common, natural gem for boosting immunity as we age?
Okay, let's explore the world of herbs for a moment. There's one in particular with a really long history and some interesting modern research too. It's called Astragalus.
Astragalus. That's not one I hear about every day. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's a root. It's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for, well, literally thousands of years, like over 2,000 years.
Wow.
What's interesting now is that some modern studies, including research reviewed by the NIH, suggest it might help your body produce more of those infection-fighting white blood cells,
Okay.
and maybe even improve your immune system's memory so it responds better next time. Plus, it might help counteract some of that natural immune aging or immunosenescence that can happen.
That sounds really beneficial. So what kind of positive changes might someone actually notice if they started using Astragalus?
Well, potentially, it could mean a stronger defense against viruses, maybe bouncing back quicker if you do get sick.
Faster recovery. Yeah.
Exactly. And maybe fewer of those annoying lingering symptoms. It's thought to work, in part, by boosting the production of T cells, which are crucial immune cells that can sometimes decline a bit with age.
Interesting. So how do people take it? Do you, cook with the root?
Usually not. You typically find it in other forms. You can get it as a tea in capsules or as a liquid extract, which is called a tincture.
Tea, capsule, tincture. Got it.
Now, it's important, like with any potent herb, to add a little note of caution.
Okay.
If you're currently taking any medications, especially things like immune suppressants or blood thinners, it's really best to chat with your doctor before trying Astragalus, just to make sure it's a good fit for you and won't interact.
Definitely a smart piece of advice. Always good to keep your doctor in the loop when adding new things, especially potent herbs or supplements.
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on from herbs,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about some of the real workhorses, the essential nutrients for immunity. Vitamins, minerals.
Yes, absolutely critical. And there are two I really want to zero in on for seniors, vitamin D and zinc.
Vitamin D and zinc. Hear a lot about those.
You do, and for good reason. There's solid research. Places like Harvard and the Cleveland Clinic highlight their roles constantly. They are so important for keeping your immune system strong, particularly as we get older.
Okay, let's start with vitamin D then. We often hear about it for bones, right? But what's the immune connection?
Right, good for bones, but also vital for immunity. Vitamin D actually plays a key role in activating your immune cells. Think of it like switching them on.
Okay.
If your levels are low, your immune system can be a bit sluggish, kinda. Not as ready to fight off infections effectively.
And is low vitamin D common in older adults?
Shockingly common. It's estimated that over 70% of adults over 60 are deficient or insufficient in vitamin D, especially during winter months or in northern latitudes where there's less strong sunlight.
Wow, over 70%. That's a huge number. What are some of the downsides then, immune-wise, of not having enough?
Well, low vitamin D levels have been linked pretty clearly to a higher risk of respiratory infections, colds, flu, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Also, potentially more inflammation throughout the body, maybe slower wound healing, and some studies even suggest links to feeling down or overly fatigued.
So it affects quite a bit. How can seniors make sure they're getting enough vitamin D then?
Good question. There are a few key ways. First, if it's possible and safe for your skin type, aim for about 10 to 20 minutes of midday sun exposure on some bare skin, like your arms or legs, most days without sunscreen. That's the best natural way.
10, 20 minutes of sun. Got it. What about food?
Yep, you can get some through diet. Fatty fish like salmon is a good source. Also, fortified foods like some cereals or milk and egg yolks contain some vitamin D.
Okay.
But honestly, for many seniors, especially in winter or if they don't get much sun, food alone might not be enough.
Mm-hmm.
A vitamin D3 supplement can be a really effective way to boost levels, but definitely talk to your doctor first to check your levels and get the right dose.
Right, get tested first, maybe. Okay, D3 supplements as an option. Now, what about zinc? What's its role?
Think of zinc as the immune system's, like first responder. It's absolutely essential for the development, growth, and function of many types of immune cells. It helps them communicate and react quickly.
A first responder, I like that. But you mentioned an issue with it as we age.
Yeah, unfortunately, as we get older, our bodies sometimes become less efficient at absorbing zinc from the food we eat.
So even if you're eating zinc-rich foods, you might not be getting the full benefit.
That's a possibility, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something to be aware of.
So what are some good food sources of zinc we should aim for?
Good ones include pumpkin seeds, great sprinkle on salads or yogurt chickpeas, cashews, lentils, and even, nice little treat, dark chocolate has some zinc.
Dark chocolate, excellent news.
Always good to hear. And like vitamin D, supplements are an option too. Usually the recommended range is somewhere around 15 to 30 milligrams per day. But again, best not to overdo it and maybe check with a healthcare provider.
Okay. And you mentioned they work together.
Yes. What's really interesting is that vitamin D and zinc seem to have this synergistic effect. They work better together to support a healthy, balanced immune response. So making sure you have enough of both is really key.
Like a dynamic duo for immunity. That's great to know.
Exactly.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. We all know or feel that stress impacts our health. But how does that ongoing chronic stress really affect our immunity, especially as we get older?
Oh, it can really take a significant toll.
Yeah.
Some studies suggest chronic stress can lower your immune defenses by like 40% or even more. It's a major factor.
40%, that's huge. How does stress actually do that? How does it weaken our ability to fight things off?
Well, when you're under chronic stress, not just, a deadline, but that constant low-grade pressure, your body keeps releasing a hormone called cortisol.
Cortisol, the stress hormone.
That's the one. In short bursts, cortisol is actually helpful. But when it stays high all the time, day after day, it can actively suppress the function of your immune system.
Suppress it? How?
It can reduce the number and activity of your immune cells, making you more vulnerable to catching colds or other infections. It can also slow down your recovery time when you do get sick. And, back to our recurring theme, it fuels chronic inflammation.
And I guess for seniors, stress might come from different places, right? Maybe things that aren't always obvious, like big life changes or feeling lonely.
Exactly. It might not be work stress anymore, but things like loneliness, dealing with loss or grief, managing health conditions, financial worries, or even just feeling overwhelmed by daily tasks can all contribute to that chronic stress state, sometimes quite quietly.
So what can people do? What are some practical, senior-friendly ways to manage stress and protect immunity?
Simple techniques can be surprisingly powerful. One I really like is practicing deep breathing, especially before meals. Just taking 4 slow, deep breaths can help lower cortisol right away and also aids digestion, which, as we know, links back to immunity.
4 deep breaths before eating. Easy enough. What else?
Getting out in nature, even for a short time. Spending just 15 minutes in your backyard, a park, or even looking at trees from a window has been shown to reduce stress hormones and actually boost the activity of certain immune cells. They call it forest bathing sometimes.
Forest bathing. I like that. Even 15 minutes.
And another simple one, keeping a gratitude journal. At the end of the day, just jotting down 3 things you're thankful for, big or small, can really help shift your focus, calm your mind, and promote relaxation, which is vital for immune repair overnight.
Gratitude journaling. That's lovely. It really highlights that connection between our emotional state and our physical health, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Our emotional well-being and physical immunity are deeply intertwined. You can't really separate them.
Now, you mentioned loneliness earlier as a potential stressor, and that feels like such an important topic for many seniors. How exactly does our social connection, or lack thereof, relate to immune health?
The link is, well, it's quite powerful, even startling. There was a UCLA study, I believe, that found loneliness in older adults could be as damaging to their immune health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow. As bad as smoking that much.
Yeah.
That's a really stark comparison.
It is. It really underscores how fundamental connection is to our physical health, not just our mental health.
So what's actually happening in the body when someone feels chronically lonely? How does that impact their immune system biologically?
Loneliness has been shown to trigger that chronic inflammation we keep talking about. It can also lead to lower counts of certain crucial immune cells and generally makes people more vulnerable to getting sick and having a harder time recovering.
And it's not necessarily about having tons of friends, is it? It's more about the quality.
Exactly. It's about having meaningful connections, feeling understood, supported, part of something. That doesn't require a huge social circle.
Yeah.
Even just one or two close, reliable relationships or regular positive interactions can make a huge difference.
So consciously making an effort to stay connected, even in small ways, can have a real, tangible, positive impact on our physical resilience.
Absolutely. Things like picking up the phone to call a friend or family member regularly, joining a local walking group, a book club, a volunteer organization, even writing letters or emails or engaging safely in online communities focused on hobbies. It all helps foster that essential sense of connection.
That's such an important reminder. Taking care of our social needs is really taking care of our physical health, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another cornerstone of good health, sleep. We know it's important, but how specifically does sleep affect our immunity as we age?
Sleep is absolutely vital. It's prime time for immune repair and regeneration, especially as we get older.
Repair time, how does that work?
Well, while you're sleeping deeply, your immune system gets busy producing and releasing these crucial proteins called cytokines. Some cytokines help promote sleep, while others are needed to fight infection and inflammation.
Okay, so we make these phytoproteins during sleep.
Exactly. And studies have consistently shown that seniors who regularly get less than, say, 6 hours of quality sleep tend to produce fewer of these protective cytokines. Their immune cells might also be less effective. Plus, poor sleep often means higher cortisol levels the next day.
Right, less sleep, fewer fighters, more stress hormone, not a good combo. And we know sleep patterns can sometimes change with age, making it harder for some.
That's true. Sleep can become more fragmented.
So what are some natural ways seniors can prioritize getting good restorative sleep for the sake of their immunity?
Creating a consistent and relaxing bedtime routine is absolutely key. Winding down is crucial.
Like what?
Well, first, try to ditch the screens, phones, tablets, TVs for at least an hour before bed.
Hi.
That blue light they emit really messes with your body's production of melatonin, the sleep hormone.
No screens for an hour. Okay.
Maybe have a light magnesium-rich snack about an hour before bed. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system. Think half a banana, a small handful of almonds, maybe some warm oats if that appeals.
Magnesium snack.
Got it. Consider sipping on a calming herbal tea. Chamomile is classic, but lemon balm and passion flower are also excellent for promoting relaxation and sleep without being habit-forming.
Herbal tea. Nice.
And finally, tying back to gratitude, try that simple practice. Before you turn out the light, just mentally review or quickly jot down one positive thing from your day or something you appreciate. It helps create a sense of safety and calm, which really supports restful sleep.
That's a lovely little ritual. No screens, maybe magnesium, calming tea, and a positive thought. Very actionable.
Small things add up.
Now, thinking about the other end of the day, starting the day off right, is there such a thing as like a morning immune routine?
There definitely is. How you start your morning can really send important signals to your body and your immune system, setting the tone for the whole day. A simple, say, 4-step routine can be really beneficial.
Ooh, okay, I'm intrigued. Walk us through it. What should this morning immune boosting routine look like?
Okay, step 1. Hydrate immediately upon waking. Before coffee, before anything else. A full glass of water, maybe warm water with a squeeze of lemon.
Why first thing?
It helps rehydrate your body after sleep, gets your metabolism going, and crucially, it helps flush your lymphatic system that's the network that carries your immune cells around. If you tend to feel low energy or a bit foggy, adding just a tiny pinch of sea salt can help with electrolyte balance too.
Okay, hydrate first. Warm water, maybe lemon, maybe tiny salt pinch. Makes sense. Step 2.
Gentle movement. Your lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump like your heart does. It relies on muscle contractions from movement to circulate properly.
Ah, so you need to move to get the immune cells flowing.
Exactly. But it doesn't have to be intense. Even just 5 minutes of gentle stretching, maybe a short walk around the house or garden, or some simple seated exercises like arm circles or leg lifts can make a real difference in stimulating that lymphatic flow.
5 minutes of gentle movement. Okay. Hydrate, move gently. What's step 3?
Step 3. Eat an immune-boosting breakfast. Please don't skip it. It refuels your body and provides essential nutrients.
What makes a breakfast immune boosting?
Aim for a good combination of protein, healthy fats, fiber, and those antioxidants we talked about. So maybe something like scrambled eggs with spinach and a slice of whole grain toast, or oatmeal with berries and nuts. A cup of green tea alongside is great too. It's packed with EGCG, a powerful antioxidant. Berries provide vitamin C and polyphenols.
Okay, protein, fiber, antioxidants. Sounds delicious and doable. What's the final step, step 4?
The final step is just to take a moment to breathe and center yourself before you launch into your day's activities.
How so?
Just 3 slow, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and maybe pair it with a simple positive affirmation, something like, my health matters, my peace matters. It takes less than a minute, but it helps calm your nervous system and signals to your body that it's safe, supported, and ready to function optimally.
I love that. Hydrate, move gently, eat well, breathe and center. It's simple, it's mindful, and it really sets a positive tone.
Exactly. It's about starting the day with intention for your well-being.
Now, there was one more thing. You hinted at something, maybe a weekly habit that's a less talked about but significant immune booster. I'm really curious about this one.
Yes, this is something that often gets overlooked in typical health advice, but it seems incredibly powerful, especially when you look at patterns in long-lived, healthy seniors. It's the habit of what we can call purposeful giving.
Purposeful giving, you mean like volunteering or helping others?
Exactly. Engaging in activities, even small ones, where you feel you're contributing, helping others, making a difference, that sense of purpose.
Okay, that feels good emotionally, but how does helping other people actually boost my own immunity? What's the biological link?
It's fascinating, actually. When you engage in acts of kindness or service that feel meaningful to you, your brain releases these wonderful chemicals, things like dopamine, which is linked to reward, and oxytocin, the bonding hormone.
Feel-good chemicals.
Right. And studies are showing that these chemicals, prompted by purposeful action, can actually lower inflammation levels, reduce the negative effects of stress, and even strengthen your immune response. It's that feeling of being useful, connected, and making a contribution that seems to have a real, positive biological impact.
That's such a wonderful and maybe kind of unexpected connection.
Yeah.
Can you give some concrete examples? What might purposeful giving look like in everyday life for a senior?
Oh, absolutely. It can take so many forms. It could be formal volunteering, sure, like at a hospital or school or library, but it could also be much simpler, like writing cards or letters to friends, family, or maybe people in nursing homes, making a meal for a neighbor who's sick or going through a tough time, regularly calling someone you know might be feeling lonely just to chat, offering encouragement or sharing a skill in an online community group, even mentoring someone younger.
So it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment.
Not at all. The key is that it feels meaningful to you and involves contributing positively to others in some way. Research suggests that even just one act of focused kindness or purposeful giving per week can have a noticeable positive ripple effect on your own stress levels and immune function.
That is such a beautiful reminder of how interconnected we all are and how helping others actually helps ourselves on a physical level. Amazing.
It really is a win-win.
So, okay, bringing all these fantastic ideas together, what's the main message, the bottom line, you'd like our listeners to really take away from our deep dive today?
I think the core message, the most empowering thing, is that your immune system is incredibly responsive. It listens to how you live your life, what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you manage stress, how you connect. It's not just about passively trying to avoid germs. It's about actively, consciously nourishing your body and mind in ways that naturally support its innate ability to defend you. You really do have so much influence, so much power in this process.
And it's not about making massive, overwhelming changes all at once, is it? It sounds more like it's about layering in these small, consistent, everyday actions.
Exactly. Small steps done consistently.
Building on the wisdom and experiences you've already gathered over the years, maybe just tweaking things gently.
Precisely. It's about nurturing your natural immunity, using simple, accessible tools one day at a time. It's a gentle process.
So here's maybe something to think about as we wrap up. What's just one small thing from our conversation today that you feel kind of inspired or maybe just curious to try this week?
Just one thing.
Maybe it's trying that spoonful of yogurt or sauerkraut. Maybe it's taking those 4 deep breaths before your next meal. Maybe it's making that phone call to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Just consider how even these little steps, these small investments in yourself, can really contribute to your long-term health and well-being. Remember, your health journey is always ongoing, and it's really about looking forward. You have the power to keep building a strong, resilient, and vibrant future for yourself. Your best health might still be ahead of you, not behind you.